Today I'll talk about decision tree, which is a tool for decision making under risk. This is my second lecture on decision making. In my first lecture, I have talked about expected monetary value calculation, which is a tool also for decision making under risk. So decision making is usually done under three situations, either under certainty, day-to-day task we do decision making under certainty, or under risk and under uncertainty. Under risk, we have two tools. One is expected monetary value. I talked about this in my previous lecture, and the other is decision tree. Today, I'll talk about decision tree as a tool for decision making under risk. So, decision making under risk means we know about the alternate course of action and states of nature, along with probabilities of each state of nature. A decision tree is a branch flowchart showing multiple pathways for potential decisions and outcomes. The tree starts with what is called a decision node, which is represented by a square, which signifies that a decision must be made. The chance nodes are represented by a circle. I'll take the same example which I uh, took before, while I talked about expected monetary value. A firm need to decide whether to increase the production capacity in anticipation of high demand. Following facts are available. If firm increases its production and demand is high, there will be a profit of 1800. If firm increases its production and demand does not rise, there will be a net profit of 500 after deducting the production cost. If firm does not increase its production and demand is high, there will be a profit of 1100. If firm does not increase its production and demand remains same, there will be a normal profit of 1000. So this is a decision tree with this information. This is a decision node. We need to decide whether to increase the production or do normal production. This is the chance node where state of nature may be high demand with a probability of zero point 0.4. These probabilities are from our past experience, and normal demand with a probability of zero point 0.6. These are the outcomes. So we need to calculate the expected monetary value of these chance nodes. These are the expected monetary value. We calculate this by multiplying zero point 0.4 and 1800 plus zero point 0.6 and 500. So we write the expected monetary values here 1020 and 1040, and this is the higher expected monetary value. So we decide to go for normal production. So we get a expected monetary value of 1040 when we go for normal production. So this is the decision tree when we have the present information. What about if we have additional information? So we make use of posterior probabilities when we have additional information. Before taking a decision, the firm also conducted a market survey. If the survey predicted that the demand of his product is going to be high in future, from the past experience, we know that when the demand has been high, such a survey had predicted it correctly only 60% of times. And when the demand has been low, the survey predicted it correctly only 80% of times. So we need to calculate the posterior probabilities of conditional probability of high demand when survey predicted high demand, conditional probability of normal demand when survey predicted high demand, conditional probability of high demand when survey predicted normal demand, conditional probability of normal demand when survey predicted normal demand. So these are the various probabilities after calculation. So if we take a survey and survey predicted high demand with a probability of 0.36 and normal demand with a probability of 0.64. On rearranging the tree, we calculate further. Uh, we need to decide here if survey predicted high demand with probability of 0.36, whether to increase the production or do normal production. If we increase the production, we get these outcomes, and if we do normal prediction, we get these outcomes with these probabilities. These are posterior probabilities. So we calculate the expected monetary value. These are the expected monetary values. It is higher when we go for increased production. So the monetary value will be 1366.7. Now we calculate the expected monetary value or when survey predicted normal demand with a probability of 0.64 and the value is 1025. So when we undertake survey, we get an expected monetary value of 1148 and expected monetary value of 1366.7 if we go for increased production and expected monetary value of 1025 if we go for normal production. Now I'll talk about another concept, that is expected value of sample information. Sample information is also known as imperfect information. Expected value of sample information is equal to expected value of with sample information minus expected value without sample information. In other example, if we have additional information in a form of survey, we have expected value as 1148 and without additional sample information, we have expected value of 1040. So the difference is 108. If cost of market survey is less than 108, we can undertake survey. If market survey predicted higher demand, then we should go for increased production here. If market survey predict normal demand, we should go for normal production. If cost of market survey is more than 108, then we should not go for market survey and we should go for normal production. So this is all for today. Thank you very much.